We're going to start this unit just really talking about the very basics of trigonometry. If we were going through our book, this would be section 1.1, and it talks about radian and degree measures. So the definition of trigonometry is the measurement of triangles. And you did a little bit of this in geometry, but most of the triangles that you talked about in geometry always had to be right triangles. Other than the section about proving triangles congruent, really when you were finding the measures of angles or sides of a triangle, they were always right triangle. But we're going to open this up to really any kind of triangle when we're talking about trigonometry. One definition that you learned in geometry is the word angle. And an angle is formed by rotating a ray about its endpoint. So if you have a ray that looks like this, if you remember, a ray has an endpoint and it goes in one direction and never stops. If you take this ray and you rotate it around this endpoint, what you end up with is an angle. So this would be the angle. We would call this side the initial side, and this would be the terminal side. So the one you start with is the initial side, the one you end with is the terminal side. Something that we didn't talk about in geometry is what happens if the angle goes the other direction. So for instance, an angle on a XY plane that goes this direction, we would call that a positive angle. And every angle that we dealt with in geometry was positive. But if we start with our initial side here and we go this direction, this angle measure would actually be a negative. So counterclockwise is positive and clockwise makes negative. In algebra, a lot of times we used x in equations. X or y was just real common. What would be common in finding a missing angle, we'll use things like theta, alpha, and beta. So this is alpha, this is beta, and then this symbol is theta. And we use theta a lot when we have an unknown angle measurement. We will, instead of using x for the angle measurement, we will use the symbol theta.